It's been protesters.
Just autograph.
What's your name?
How you doing? I've been asking for like 3 years.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please hold and you listen. You are now in the
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Bob.
I'm on the show.
All right.
How you doing? Okay.
It's like it's breaking up.
Put the mic right in front of you, okay?
Before you come towards,
Just a little bit.
come back. His video too.
Yeah, YouTube live all that, y'all. Yeah. Good? This is Joy Powell. I see you, my sister. I see y'all from.
No longer afraid to knock on your door. Not scared anymore to lose my life in the war. After what I just saw, I'm riding with the Lord. Cause I really can't afford to lose my head by the sword. And now that I've seen what I need.
Touch your mic. Talking to you.
Touch your mic, yeah.
What have you learned? To love my life until I die. What have you learned? Can't always believe what you see. What have you learned? It's better to forgive and forget. What have you
Minneapolis in the building. For him all, just left there. Yes, indeed. It's that DMX, y'all. We going through it. Y'all keep on y'all heart and y'all mind. Which is people, y'all. Nashville tuning in. Lord's World. Fly Geek. Okay. Heads up, ass on the fist clinch. Are we live and direct?
We live too.
We live? Okay. That's what it is, y'all. Heads up, ass open, the fist clench. Locked and loaded for another episode of Freedom on Radio here, Intellectual Radio, y'all. Y'all heard it in the game. They playing games to Facebook, You know what I'm saying? So we on official. Put the word out if you can. Post on your Facebook page that we are on Intellectual Radio YouTube, and we are on the official Chairman Fred. No, not the official Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. On Instagram. Should one of your pages Instagram live too? I was thinking. Should off your page. We got we locked and loaded. Weekly program with the Black Panther Party Cubs, hosted by yours truly, Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. and also Robert Allen, aka the Lady of Rage. Let's make history. Let's take history. Let's tape history. Right on. That's what it is. I don't know if how loud y'all hear me. We got on your phone. You can go live on your Instagram. Okay.
But I need to keep you.
Yeah, Conrad Carlos in the building. You know what I'm saying? You can go live. Okay, that's what it is. We about to get ready to make history, take history, and tape history, y'all. That's what it is. Okay, got I heard that DMX. Okay, good question. Those have asked by joining membership. 6 episodes of Freedom on Radio. This is the show you're listening to. Right up 6 episodes. And forgive me my frustration. A lot of people say they want to get down, but they really want to get down. They want to talk. I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? We got to do what it do. They can give me 6 different, like the Black Panther Party go through 6 weeks of political education. Black Panther Party Cubs, we use this equivalent to our political education. So get 6 different episodes of Freedom on Radio and give us a write-up on them. And the write-up means a summation of your thoughts when you can pull down 6 different episodes, past episodes, and do a write-up on them. Then you have to also write, why would you like to join the Black Panther Party? The Black Panther Party Cubs. What do you think the Black Panther Party Cubs is? What the Black Panther Party was? What's your Carlos, here's up. What's your thoughts on it? So that's the first one. Email us. You can, matter of fact, you email to get our Black Panther Party Cubs email together. Send it to Chairman Fred Jr. spelled out at gmail.com. Then we'll go from there. Then we start talking about the club community service, everything. This ain't no quick fix. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just seen some other posts they got some new groups jumping up talking about the Black Panther. I said, forget. I mean, I'm so worn and wore out, man. Listen. say, Bellman better get a cub with me. They talking about, I was talking earlier, and the guy was difficult about coalition dealing with our new forces, and this is not the person personally. I was out of town, we were doing some events, and the guy kept saying, well, what happened? Why you know saying, why you didn't get there on time, so on and so forth. And I was like, it's like blood in my mouth. I said, you know, it just was revealed recently that over 72% of the information written by the Black Panther Party was written by the feds. Over 90% of the COINTELPRO counterintelligence program directed to the Black Panther Party. That's important. It's things that, you know, constantly under attack. Constantly. I mean, continuously under attack. And it's difficult. I say, you know, I said to someone, I said, I got 99 problems and the pigs involved. The pigs are responsible for all of them, directly and indirectly. And I don't talk about a lot of our problems because the deal is most people can't understand our problems. You know what I'm saying? And that's real talk. You know, that's real talk. I'm gonna take it off Facebook. They're shut down. No warning, shut down on Facebook. And there have been more quotes. Right on. Okay, right on. There have been more quotes attributed to me recently on Facebook than you know what I'm saying, than I've had, you know, they were attributed to me when I was on Facebook. And somebody, I was talking to Sekou Odinga today, a long-held political prisoner. He said, man, why is it that people don't, you know, we talk and say, you know, I said, a good thing about the movie, they say, man, go back and look at different dynamics of the counterinsurgency. And I said, man, it's the count, we say from COINTELPRO to now COINTELPRO. It's a difficult thing. But what this is, though, let's say this, though. All that being said, there are highs and lows in the struggle. Recent high was the release of long-held political prisoner Jerry Odinga Dunnigan. Jerry Odinga Dunnigan, held captive. I think 45 or 48, I believe I thought it was 45 years. Maybe, I mean, my time might be off. Those who've seen the video, the footage of, excuse me, you want to say something? Those who've seen the footage of the assassination of Chairman Fred, or some people refer to the murder of Fred Hampton. There's a scene of then Deputy Minister Fish, Bobby Rush was speaking, and the brother was standing on post like a tusk earring on, you know, in his ear. That's Odinga. There's on the flyer, the breakfast program, that's Odinga. You know, and we've been pushing about this case for quite some time, and his image impacted me. His stand, you know what I'm saying, is to the point we had named one of my comrades of security Odinga in honor of him. And he just was released, and I just want to make sure I say this, I'm going to get it out again before the show concludes. I think his daughter's name is Renita Dunnigan. It's a clip going around. In fact, on Willie D's Instagram page, they posted it. I think it's Renita, I'm going to get the correct spelling, on Instagram, Nita. Reach out to her, and we definitely want to get resources sent, finance, funds sent, welcome black to the community. He was directly impacted by the actions of William O'Neill and other agents of provocateurs. Many people tend to, y'all forgive me, y'all know I usually don't do no commercials up here. I'm definitely not doing that now, but I'm drinking some coffee right now. And just, these legacies of these individuals help raise me, you know, their body, you know, their body language, you know, without saying a word, their legacy, and that legacy remains under attack, you know. Okay, Abraham, I just seen your comment. Okay, do that for me. Get those 6 write-ups for me. You know what I'm saying? Forgive me. I got a lot of battle scars on me. It's not, you know what I'm saying? I get 90 something. You know what I'm saying? Like calls a day. People say they want to get down with this here. You know, and it's a battle, man. It wears on you, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. But I don't want that up. And I'm fearful. I'm kind of switching subjects for those who can't see. I got some comments on him. Young cat just say he want to join. Join the Panther Cubs. And forgive me, I don't become a pessimist. In fact, I always say I try to back up and give me a breather because I don't never want to get to the point where I'm just disillusioned, you know. There was a brother I was locked up with in Cook County Jail in 1990, 91. And he had this tattoo on his shoulder. It was a heart with a lock on it. And he was talking about how he never had no emotions for no women, no people, no nothing. I said, I don't want to never get like that for the people. I don't never want to feel that way. It was a situation in Stateville when they were doing these tours in Springfield. They were coming. Springfield was coming out to these tours with the warden come through. They dressed the concentration camp up. They bring the nice prisoners down. Excuse me, not the prisoners. They bring the nice residents. You call them residents. They bring the residents down. So the guy was on the first floor. He was waxing the floor. They said, we got visitors coming through, tour coming through. So they put us all up in what they call the boondocks. They lock us, the uncontrollable ones. They lock us all up in 7 gallery, 9 gallery. This is a place you don't get no mail at. A lot of people say, Chairman, why you up there in the boondocks? You don't get your mail? I said, I don't see no guards either. I said, I'm good. So they would clean the gallery up, and everybody was, playing. It was a big festive move for the first gallery and third gallery, because they down there, and it's kind of reversed. They like the upper Jefferson say moving on up. They were like when you get down the first and third, like it's a prestige of that. Like you on first gallery, third gallery. And I mean when they first sent me, we send you up to 7 gallery. I was like, okay, so your point is what? And I've been walking up through all those stairs. I said, "Whoo, this is a hell of a flight, hell of a walk." But the tourists was coming through, and I was just hearing it. Just kind of disturbed me how festive and knowing they just got through. Our toilets upstairs wasn't working. None of this. So everybody they got to playing this nice music downstairs. So I just kind of just I didn't directly say, but I just say I would have a problem with saying some stuff fall on the gallery. If the gallery get back dirty, I didn't have an issue with it. So next thing you know, the gallery got all messed up again. So the guy who cleaned the gallery, he waxes the gallery. Let me make sure I'm clear. I don't want to disrespect his work. He waxes the gallery floor. He came upstairs. He's hollering, "Man, why you do this?" I said, "Well," I'm kind of confused. Why should we be trying to make this place look beautiful? All this tear gas and beatness is going on around here, And he was explaining to me, he said, I used to be like you. I used to be on. I said, what? He said, yeah. He said, years ago, I used to be on this protest. And I actually asked him, I said, is there a warning sign that happened before you became who you are now? I said, I really need to know, So I could see it coming, But that's reality, I believe that, he has been who he's been all the time. DMX had, I seen a snippet from an interview DMX did. DMX said, DMX, what do you mean you trust people? And DMX said, you trust them to be them. And dude said, what do you mean? He said, they tell you who they are. He said, this guy's a liar. You trust him to be a liar. He said, you trust. And I tell myself this. I said, I like that analogy. He said, DMX, you trust them to be who they are. Speaking of DMX, y'all, keep him on our minds and hearts. This is a soldier, man. And I want to talk about, he talk about, the struggles and I guarantee you to come out because he did a powerful. He expressed himself in the interview. He talked about how he did from ages 7 to 14 years old in the foster care in institutions. Then when he got out, he said he was beatboxing. He wasn't rapping. Other guy was doing the beatboxing. He was rapping and said, "You need to do the rapping." He said, "But he looked up to this guy. This guy's about 30-some years old. He was 14, and it was tearing DMX up when he was talking about it. He said, but the guy laced his joint. You know what I'm saying? And for those who not to know, put some crack cocaine in there. That's what got him sprung. A lot of people had this class arrogance, like you just stop doing drugs and it's important to take into account what age he was. He said it. You may say, how you do this as a child? You know what I'm saying? When they lock us up, the laws, they take into the, you know what I'm saying, what impacts your brain, certain ages, the developmental stages, how you, I think Frederick Douglass said it's easier to rear good children as opposed to repairing broken adults. There are certain things that stick with you. And this again, I know you're going to say, oh, here he come again, trying to turn the Black Panther Party into it. You damn right. The breakfast program. The timing that it hit, who it hit, you know what I'm saying? Even with the state do to us, the the breaking process, what we see, what type of individuals we have, and that, and I said it's gonna have to come to a point that DMX. I said, I'm speaking like he coming up out of this because I'm saying, I'm just out, man, he's a soldier, man. man, I'm hoping like hard he come up out of this here, man. And that this has to be confronted politically. And I'm willing to do the thing, you know what I'm saying? Because what I mean by that is the individual, the politics, and I guarantee you it's some major player in the music industry, you know what I'm saying, without a doubt, a person that benefited off of, you know what I'm saying, his addiction. And it's a piece I was watching the Mayans the other night. Watching the Mayans, and this guy, he was trained by these special forces. So later on, he worked for the government in another capacity, the cartel. So now he's in the cartel, still working for the U.S. government. But so they did a thing with the U.S. the special forces, and the guy that trained him had kidnapped him, and he was torturing him. He looked up to this guy. You know what I'm saying? That's who really brought him on to be, you know what I'm saying, to be a quote unquote American. And when his guys that came and saved him out of there, took him about from the U.S. Special Forces, he was so tortured he couldn't walk, and his guys automatically gave him the gun. They said he had to do that. And he said, no. They said, he said in Spanish, he said, no. And automatically they gave him the wrench, because he had to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? To help clean, to get that this who trained him, this also who tortured him. That cleansing process, you know, and like even the one unique that is the Black Power movement in the '60s. There was a lot of the party stood up and let their parents know, with all due respect, whatever information you've given to me from your schools, your church, whatever, I'm confronting that. I'm not with that, you know. And it's a certain process you have to go through. And not in a reactionary way, but to confront, you know what I'm saying? And that's something that holds a lot of people back. Like a lot of people can tell their political line is impacted by the relationships, whether it be the mother, fathers, woman, man, what have you. You know what I'm saying? And that position to take a stance. This what Chairman Fred talked about Larry Roberson. He said, Larry Roberson said, man, whoever it be, my mother, my father, whoever it be, I'm going to serve the people. And that's a stance that people have to take to, you know, I remember when we fought for that the street name after Chairman Fred around 2005, 2006 in Chicago. I remember being in City Hall. I remember being about 4 or 5 feet standing eye to eye with Mayor Daley, Richard Daley Jr. I remember that process, you know. I remember going to the funeral services to pay our disrespects to William O'Neill, James Gloves Davis, L.V. Hanyan. These are necessary dynamics that people have to go through, the cleansing process, to deal with certain contradictions. We live and direct, y'all, on Freedom on Radio, Intellectual Radio. Y'all feel free to call in the Cub in. I think call directly 708-223-8953. Let's make history. Let's take history. Let's tape history, y'all. We just came back from Minneapolis like literally hours ago. It's difficult to watch the trial on TV. It's an insult to your intelligence, you know what I'm saying? But y'all intake on it. But again, I need it so I can we get posted the contact. Renika Dunnigan. It's a post. So we can get a direct name. We're gonna contact her. That's a daughter of Jerry Duncan. How we can get some welcome back funds and resources to this soldier. Free them all.
RENACCA.
One more time. RE.
NACCA.
REN, 2 N's.
A.
TTA.
REN. A is an apple. A is an apple.
Renita, 1 N. Renita Dunnigan. Is Dunnigan? Mm-hmm. That's her name on Instagram.
That's her name on the TikTok thing that she posted.
Okay.
I mean, that's her name. I don't know what her username is.
Okay, we should find a username so I can inbox. I don't know how the TikTok work. If they can inbox or what. We want to get word to them that y'all heard about the case on Freedom on Radio. You know what I'm saying? We're going to figure out, you know what I'm saying, it's a cash app. It's something we can get some resources, some support funds to this soldier who's been held captive. You know what I'm saying? Again, Jerry Odinga Dunnigan, this past Friday released. Again, let's contact his sister, his daughter, see how we can get some, you know what I'm saying, some funds to this soldier and get word to. I look forward to seeing you, comrade. I do. I heard stories about him when I was locked up. I heard about him being placed in isolation just for refusing to take down the picture of Chairman Fred. I would hear these war stories about him, you know. So, you know what I'm saying, man, good to be back. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
You know, can you hear me clear?
Yeah, the other number 929. Okay.
Different phone.
Okay.
I don't know what next is like.
Right on, right on. My fault. You call in 929-477-3785. Y'all feel free to call in 929-477-3785. Then press 1. A lot of things is going on.
Chairman, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Can you hear me clear?
Yeah. Fremont, I can. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I
I'm
know.
going to go back to, when you were talking about the guy that gave DMX the lace blunt and everything. Sometimes, I think a lot of times when people get on drugs or when they are first introduced is by someone that, is just telling them to try this. I've been in situations like this, like, try this or hit this. Well, what is it? Just hit it. And then you become, it takes you somewhere else that it messes up your whole world. I remember feeling bad one time because I used to smoke cigarettes. Not like, I just smoked them it gave me a buzz. And a friend of mine, she didn't smoke. And she was like, why you smoke cigarettes? I said, because it gives me a buzz. You want to try it? Here, try it. And she became later on, she smoked like packs a day. And I felt bad because I was like, damn, if I hadn't said, here, try it, she might not have been, smoking cigarettes like a train. And I think, a lot of times that's happened. You don't even think of the outcome. You don't think of down the line how this can affect a person throughout their life.
Yeah. How? Okay. Just how? This is a peer. She grew up with you. A peer.
Yeah. Well, she was a friend I met at school. I was away from school. I didn't. And we became real close. I was rapping at the time, and she was too. But she always followed me around, and she always wanted to. She admired me, admired my style and stuff. And shoot.
Well,
that you don't realize the influence or the power that you have. Like, I didn't even look at it like I probably could have said, do this or anything, and she might have done it. And I didn't look at it like that at that time. But listening to you, and I saw that same interview with DMX, and it made me think of that. Like, why would you do that? But we both were grown. We wasn't little. And still, if I hadn't given it to her, maybe she wouldn't have that cigarette addiction. So
well, I think
you don't realize sometimes that.
I think the impact. Like I was on point. Okay, he mentioned that the guy with the crack with him was 30 years old. The guy was 30, and he was 14. He was 14.
So he's definitely impressionable.
Yeah, so I think that's important. And also, I was saying also that I think the industry that I suspect is someone that's in power. I think it's important, there's the politics. There's certain officials, like I talk about, like even the things, the abuse in the church, and there's a certain we all, even adults, are impacted by peer pressure. That what's fashionable, it's natural to be a part of something. But there's also there's a dynamic. They talk about what goes on, like in the they call it casting couch in Hollywood and other places. There is an additional politics that goes along with it. That's why I pointed out the possibility of someone in the industry, because there's whether it's said or not said, you know what I'm saying? It's like not to the same extent, but I think back, like even when they talk about, it was a debate on whether Sally Hemings had a quote unquote relationship with Thomas Jefferson, and I said on that. I said relationship, no, because you don't have the power just to say, I don't feel like I have a headache tonight or something, so on and so forth. It's told what you can do, what you can't do. And that whole question of power, the politics of that, you know what I'm saying, in addition to, we're talking about, child and adult. And actually the state power trumps all of that. In other words, there's something where, where like people talk about in their job, in their workplaces, where, it could be a young white executive, or a young white police officer who, who's younger than telling a grown person, when the police ask a person, can they search your car? So that dynamic of power, of that reigns, that kind of looms over the quote unquote question about, about doing something. That's I think that's something that I really have, that is a point that distinguishes the contradictions within the people. The people, there of course there are contradictions. Like I said, no one comes out of this clean. However, it's a different, like some people it's kind of like it's in a different breath. But I discussed with someone about slavery the other day, and he was talking about there was slavery in Africa. I said it's a different dynamic than colonialism. I say, say for example, in pre-colonialism, a person their child would not necessarily have to be a slave. They can practice their respective religion. Colonialism guts the humanity out of you. In fact, that's why they use the term chattel, it's like property. So this whole dynamic of something, in what capacity, on a workplace, or like I said, it's a politic to this system that tells that, as we say, like America's definition of diplomacy is letting others have their way. You know what I'm saying? When they ask other countries, would you like to have more Coca-Cola over there? Would you like this? It's really not a question. In fact, it's a book called Economic Hitman, and it kind of lays down the steps in which the state goes through when they approach different countries about, taking on contracts and, taking on, the people they're working with. They think that they made a bid or made a choice in it. And the politics is necessary. I've said before, I love this soldier, I love this brother. And I talk about the different, the reactionary dynamic. And this was, a lot of times it's a reaction. It takes the politics to put it in context. Because a lot of times people deal in absolute, like, he was, even his articulation, he was talking about his love for this individual. And that's something difficult. A lot of times is with a reactionary assessment, it's hard to pick out the particulars of what's unique about this quote unquote decision that was made. This what distinguishes, a lot of times most people deal in absolutes. They say, okay, well, this is slavery is all the same, or getting high is all the same. It's the timing of, for him knowingly, there was crack inside the marijuana. And then you also have to put stuff in context of time. Today's audience, that may not seem like a big deal now. You know what I'm saying? All with the Percocet, the Mollies, the whole thing. It's important to talk about, like I tell you, like certain dynamics, like when you talk about even resources and money, you have to look at what these cats dealing with and what type of drugs, but to put in context of that time, and put in context of that time to become a recording artist. You know what I'm saying? It's like now it's a different dynamic. A lot of these cats can the drugs are more readily accessible. You know what I'm saying? But who had access to which particular drugs at the time of cocaine? You know what I'm saying? Even put in political context, at the military defeat of the Black Power movement in the 1960s, cocaine was seen as upper class white man's drug. You know what I'm saying? Our communities were bombarded with heroin and other derivatives of the poppy leaf, which particularly from Vietnam, where William Sullivan, who's the deputy director of the FBI, architected the COINTEL program, unleashed with J. Edgar Hoover. And when he said he came back from Vietnam, Southeast Asia, our communities were bombarded with horse habits and heroin habits. And it was strategic. They wanted us nodded out after we standing up and fighting. Then in 78, the same individual was sent to Latin America, deal with that so-called drug, get me on this call list or whatever, calling me, oh man, let me stay focused. 1978, William Sullivan was sent to Latin America. They, when he returned, the black community was bombarded with cocaine, later crack epidemic, and Latin America was the coca leaf grower, the raw form of cocaine. And this is, you know what I'm saying, and even at the type of, you put it the mindset under the Reagan administration, the whole, with it bred individualism, me, I, so that even drugs are particular. So even to note that dynamic of what crack did, you know what I'm saying, in the long range, you know what I'm saying, and like even cigarettes are political. Also, it's that, like, you know, I was raising a point the other day. So I say, I mean, the deal is to take it out of the individual context and say, okay, it was reinforced. Like, okay, like now, in fact, I had this struggle on a movie set. I recall struggling about the amount of times that you witnessed initially in the movie the Black Panther smoking cigarettes. And I raised issue about it. I say, this is a generation that does not see people smoking on TV now. It's not, a lot of youngsters say, damn, they don't even notice that. But for their first impression to see people smoking, and then the Black Panther Party, so you didn't see initially. I said, you don't see the Young Patriots, or the Young Lord, and there's no slight, Young Lord, or the FBI. You know, so that they said, damn, Chairman, you're right. In fact, one person on the movie said, I had never seen this amount of resource put into the whole thing about cigarettes. So we had to struggle about that, to balance it out and take us, and not negating that there was some smoke in there. But however, your first impression, and we have to put it in context, so it was not taking the weight as an individual to say the climate, what was going on, what type of commercials, and like I recall talking to the brother who was locked up with me, so we talking about the whole, even how it crack, and certain, like it was certain locations, certain organizations, how even the terms were used, like looked down upon. And in certain places, the type of the Scarface movies, the impact of that. So the politics helps gives us a sanity to say, wait a minute, this is bigger than me as an individual. This is a climate that was put forward. You know what I'm saying? Like again, for the movie reference, a lot of people have never seen a frame of reference of an organization. The only images they have seen was individuals. So I like to say that the ecosystem. So it does. You go back and take an objective look and say, wait a minute, this cigarette dynamic. We're gonna say at what time, what was going on, the movie, all that. So I'm not copping pleas or taking away. I'm doing this. And again, I think it's imperative that we try to put all this in political context. And I'm saying to say that with this dynamic, even with this individual, I won't even put the onus. I point out that this guy was with this movie, The Mayans. I point out this was a Mayan, that he was with the special forces. The way he tortured the individual, the way what he done to him, it's a state. Like I tell you, you really can pick up on who did what murders. You know what I'm saying? And this guy was, the way he done it to this individual, it was a state way. It was a way he was tortured. It's a way that even we be up front, like even. I was just in yesterday on George Floyd Square, and I was making some comments about I can pick up on what areas, what cities, who they've been colonized by, the history of it. So I'm saying it to say this whole I said I suspect the person was in industry, because if we heighten the contradiction, it can be laid out that kind of like who was it? Was it not Richard Pryor? Someone recently talking about what they had access to, what was brought to them. And the deal, it's a different as a person going and get, that state that's like I struggled. I was in LA, and his brother stood up on a 12-year-old Devin Brown was murdered by the police. And another organization got there and said, well, we had to be there. We had to have the same momentum when we kill each other. It's the same thing. I said, I beg to differ. It's a different, we can call ourselves, so we say, well, we let us kill each other. That's a different dynamic with that state murder. It's official. It's a different dynamic with that abuse of that priest. It's a powerlessness. It's a gutting. It's a like comparison during the era of chattel slavery with the slavery with our people in Africa, prior to colonialism, that you fearful to even give birth to a child. Because you know that child is going to be carried. That child is going to have to continue this lineage of slavery, as opposed to there's some hope say, you got your with us. Sheikh Anta Diop talked about, how we deal with each other, even if it's contradictory. We went to war, and this tribe took you hostage or took you prisoner. You may be a slave, but that does not mean that your child will be a slave. So now you have it produces a different type of people with children. Why women jumping up the slave, jumping in the water with sharks? Pregnant women. Why would they do it? Why would they want to do this? It produces a different mindset that, it produces, it sticks with you. You know what I'm saying? And it gives us, we can, and even when we have conversations with each other, it's a brother just come home 25 years, and we were laughing about, as youngsters, man, we bumped heads, and I'm putting it lightly. But we can dialogue and deal with you. I'm looking forward. Matter of fact, I'm grabbing him and a few more of them brothers who all of them bumped heads, but it was never a line of the state. Nobody, out of all these forces, no one worked with the state. The deal is, we have to go back and look at our contradictions in our communities and our people, whether it be addiction, whether it be rivalries, whatever we have, and figure out where there are differences amongst us, whether there are issues amongst us, or were they state differences. And that core that has to be brought out and to be politicized for that cleansing process. Something more powerful than rehab, or political rehab, is going to be necessary for DMX. It's going to be a cleansing. The people say when a slave kills a slave master, oppressor's gone, a new man is born. It's a cleansing process. It's a dynamic of shaking, taking a chance on not only the slave master, but would I be free homeless? How would I survive without this slave master? Willing to take those questions on. I'm sure. I'm shooting the dice with this. Even was brought some of the dynamics. I go into the mind of. I try to study even the peerless. I go in and out because I don't want to get caught up in that matrix too long. But certain dynamics brought to them. I'm listening to some of the context clues. He say, I'm beatboxing. The other guy's rapping. And he said, why don't you rap? I'm sure certain words and terms like you'll sound better with this. Certain sentence. So you now have to take the chance on the cleansing process. Because even everything with slave master, one of the arts of it is, without this, you cannot survive. This is a tactical imperialism, the pedophiles. Without this, you cannot make it, even if it's a horrid experience. To be able to take a chance and I'm going to cleanse this. I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know how I'm going to say, but I got to be better than this. They will hold it over guys in prison. They will, the guards will come through, beating. I remember a lawyer asked me, said, why is there a big fear of being transferred? I say, because even with on certain plantations or certain prisons, the grooves of how certain masters are going to beat you. You know how to turn your back to accept the pain. You know what what time he comes in, which bed when she's going to take in at night. You kind of get used to even your abuse. It's a dynamic. They say, well, I'm here now. I don't want to take a chance on, I might end up in another dynamic. So that liberating is it's a hell of a thing. The stand up. I remember Mother Comrade taking me as a child, and we went to the job she worked at, and she said she fed up with it. She about to leave, about to bounce. And I remember I was looking, I said, damn, I just seen the typewriters and I said, you gonna leave this? And I was tripping, and she had no when she's gonna work with something. She said, man, it's a rap. And that we have to, this struggle to distinguish we have contradictions, what I'm saying? Like when we talking about the Rainbow Coalition, we just was down there in Minneapolis. We just did it at Hampton House, and I say we have to heighten the contradictions. Be willing to acknowledge that amongst all our ranks, something more deeper than race nationalism has to be put forward. A political analysis on, a position that Kim Il-sung, he told the United States, oh no, the South Korea, they may align with you, Yankee, we're not with you. You know what I'm saying? And that dynamic to say, okay, and I think it's a good therapy for even those who we've had rivalries with, those those who we have impacted. You know what I'm saying? Say, man, this is a wrong decision. To go to say, they have to say, listen, I too. You know what I'm saying? It's humbling. I made mistakes. You know what I'm saying? But it's a different dynamic to say, no, the state, the system, you know what I'm saying? And that's what has to be addressed. Like, and people have to be, the challenge is to say, man, I don't know if I can rap good without this. That's not a monkey on your back. That's a pig on your back. And that's more difficult to shake. That's more harder to challenge, you know what I'm saying? Because that pig is intertwines into this, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's hard for people to distinguish, is it me or is it the pig? You know, I was talking to somebody the other day, they said, man, we was watching the trial, and the chief of police was on TV when the comrades say, oh, that nigga, I said, you mean the African American? He said, yeah. I said, don't disrespect them niggas. I said, you mean the African American? Because, you know what I'm saying, that's a dynamic it's intertwines, you know what I'm saying, with it, and it's hard to, before you know it, you can't distinguish what's yours, and people take credit. I remember I got into it, the history teacher, she was telling me about what mankind did to the earth. I said, you got to be confused. I said, what man you talking about? And she said, well, it doesn't. I said, it does make a difference. Let's be clear on that. We live and direct, y'all. Making history, taking this and taping history. Free on my radio and intellectual radio. 929-477-3785. Press 1 to get in, and also make sure y'all make sure we touch down with Renita. I need to spell it again, co-host.
RENATTA.
Dunnigan, the daughter of Jerry O'Digger Dunnigan. Live and direct, y'all. I need to get an inbox her track. You know what I'm saying? How can we get resources, funds sent to her to get this, the aid and assist this soldier? Welcome back home, Jerry O'Digger Dunnigan. That's what it is, y'all. Real talk.
That's our chairman.
Free them all.
Long and free them all. Because the legacy of April 6th.
Yes, indeed.
That's when he was murdered. So, with the first recruit to the Black Panther Party.
Yes, him and Jonathan Jackson, both, I'll be saying 16 and 17, but assassinated treasurer of Black Panther Party, you know what I'm saying? And those who seen that picture of him with that, a derby hat or walking over that shotgun up in Sacramento, May 2nd, 1967, you know what I'm saying? Executive mandate number 1, read by the Chairman Bobby Seale, author of Minister U.E.P. Newton. In which Minister U.E.P. Newton basically said to the unarmed people subject to slavery at any given time. Lil Bobby Hutton, assassinated April 6, 1968. And I just, you know what I'm saying, I got to ease this in there too. I got to say long little Bobby Hutton, big Lawrence Lawkins, who we had named in honor of him. But Lil Bobby Hutton, you know what I'm saying, Panther and Hard Panther D. Marlon Brando spoke at the funeral services also, amongst other people, but Lil Bobby Hutton, no doubt about it. Lonely legacy of Lil Bobby Hutton. April 6, 1968, assassinated by the federal government. 2 days after Dr. King was assassinated. Part of Infamous COINTELPRO.
That's right.
Y'all make sure y'all tune in.
That's right.
Right on. We live and direct. Let me know if we got any callers in queue. 929-477-3785. Press 1. Come in, let me know if you want to touch in. You know what I'm saying? We here. We live. This is the microphone we using right here. Any updates you got?
Should I talk to this one?
Yeah. Both keep it close to the mic too, so they can.
Yeah, white Kanahus Baskeris Quest. Hello, everyone out there. My name is Kanahus Basky Emmanuel. I'm traveled all the way from so-called Canada, British Columbia. Sukatmuk is our territory. I'm a freedom fighter, come from a long line of freedom fighters in my family, and it's an honor to be here. And with Chairman Fred Hampton Jr., we've been touching down on hot spots. Like he said, we just got back from George Floyd Square yesterday, and the trial for Derek Chauvin that's happening right now. We all know he's guilty. We know that this illegal and this state and this system is there. It's white supremacist, and whether it's here in so-called America, Triple K America, or Canada, and we're dealing with Canada's pipeline right now from the Alberta tar sands. That's our big issue that we're facing. The Alberta tar sands, they want to mine an area the size of Texas. It's the big global oil reserves that they're looking at to pump this military pipeline. Toxic bitumen, it's called dilbit, which is one of the most toxic crude oils, and they want to ship that from via pipeline from the Alberta tar sands through our mountains, the Rocky Mountains in so-called British Columbia, right through Secwepemcúlecw, 518 kilometers of our land, through glacier rivers and creeks and salmon-bearing rivers and spawning grounds, all the way to the Salish Sea, which is right there in Vancouver, and the inlets all around Vancouver. They want super tankers. Vancouver's never seen super tankers, but they want these super tankers filling this bitumen all the way from there, all the way down the coast of Washington State, Oregon, and down into refineries into California, then off to China through the Panama Canal up towards Boston, and then off. So it's like not going to make any money. Top economists are saying it's not going to make any money. We know it's a military pipeline, and Indigenous people are standing in the way of this pipeline, and of course we're the ones being criminalized, we're the ones being targeted. Today was actually my court date where one of the Crown judges were making a decision whether I was guilty for doing a Facebook Live in front of a Trans Mountain pumping station, and they charged us with intimidation. So me and my twin sister went through a week-long video trial to prove our innocence over a Facebook video, and they don't want any of this information going out. They don't even want us to be doing social media in front of these infrastructure. And so the judge has delayed her decision till May, and what has risen out of it is just addressing that we have Secwepemc law, we have jurisdiction to our lands, we have rights to be on our land, and it's going to be a really touchy situation to see how this judge responds, because we've been screaming that this is a white supremacist pipeline, that they're pushing it through the bodies of pretty well Indigenous women, because we're standing in the way. We're building tiny houses on wheels, and we build them like tanks. They're tiny houses on wheels, and we deploy them onto our territory. We're able to house Indigenous land defenders in the path of this pipeline, and we've been out in the mountains, in the Rockies, in our territory for the past 3 winters, stopping and blocking this pipeline, and we've been using all forms of tactics, including targeting the insurance companies where they need $500 million of insurance contracts to operate on our lands. So we've had the top insurance companies pull out Zurich Insurance and 2 other insurance companies, and we've been targeting the contractors of this pipeline, having blockades at billionaires' homes in Vancouver, West Vancouver, blockading their homes, and just going right to their offices. And really want to just shout out Braided Warriors. Everyone could check them out, Braided Warriors. They've been really holding it down and blocking and doing as much direct action as they can to put pressure on this company. And we know that it comes from all the banks out there that are also investing. So yeah, we went to Europe to target these banks and insurance companies, and we had people, a part of our family and movement, that went to S&P, Standard & Poor's, to actually request that Canada, credit rating be lowered. Pretty well what they said is like, who's going to enforce this, who and what army? And so, like, as Indigenous people, we have a right to our own military and our own self-defense, and that's what we talk about too when we're talking about self-determination and some of the work that we're doing here with Black Panther Party Cubs, and the discussion of what does self-determination look like, and really building on the solutions. We all know that we have like a bombardment of problems and issues that arise because of colonization. How are we going to build these solutions together? We're dealing with opioid crisis in Indigenous communities in Canada. We're dealing with housing issues. We're dealing with police violence. We're dealing with all of these same issues that our people everywhere, Black and Brown people, are dealing with, whether it's in the cities or the reservations. We're dealing with this, and it's up to us to build these solutions and build some projects and commitments that we work together collectively, because our freedom is bound with each other. We can't be free without us all being free. And for us as Indigenous people, it's all based on land. And we're here all on this great turtle island from like Alaska to Argentina. This is Indigenous territory, and to respect that there's Indigenous laws in place. And if we could all do that and abide by Indigenous law instead of this capitalist white man's law, then we would all have our human rights respected. We would all have homes. We would all have food if we still lived by those Indigenous laws. So those are the things that I want to talk. How do we turn away from the system and actually build something really beautiful where we're all fed, where we all have homes, where we all able to survive in a beautiful land that's not destroyed? And big picture goals, that's what I want to talk and see. Build like we said, like in a dream world, how would we actually be existing right now, and start building that. So yeah, thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk.
Right on. Again, I know, contrary to a lot of the propaganda, I've said this before, contrary to the propaganda put out by the Tarzan movies and the John Wayne movies, resistance is still happening on both and other respective communities. People hear terms like the pipelines, and there's a lot of this is the way transport oil and move forward, take development, land, so on and so forth. It's kind of similar to like some of the arguments that run about gentrification, like how it's going to beautify the land and more people going to be employed, so on and so forth. What is the underbelly of such discussions about the pipelines? Enlighten us. Because some people heard about the resistance at Standard Rock, North Dakota, about challenging. And a lot of people weren't familiar with, okay, what's the details of that? Similar to like, a lot of people have a reactionary assessment. They, they see the diamonds, and so on, out of the Sierra Leone, other places, but not knowing the underbelly of it, what costs, kind of like I guess it can be equated to the sausage factory, the people talking like even there are struggles about even how cattle at the slaughterhouse, the process of them being murdered, because they say like even just the way that the land, actually would be animals, land, or anybody, the way that you're murdered, I mean like they talking about like go back to the cattle, for example, the way that the blood flows, or just from the fear of the shock, if it's not killed in halal or a certain way, it impacts the way the meat even tastes. What damages, what detriment to the land, to the respective people, to the land is happening. We're talking about this pipeline and other contradictions.
Well, first of all, I think I should just paint a picture of what my home looks like for people to know what's at risk, is because you look at Canada and colonization, it's 150 years, it's just a baby country when you look at other so-called nation states around the world, and that colonization and the impacts haven't been as drastic as, say, like right here in Chicago, where some industry and roads and just colonization has hit so much sooner in history. And so we still have mountains, pure, pristine, clear, crisp, pure water that you can just go down to the creek and just drink it. We have deer, we have caribou, we have moose, we have salmon, we have lynx. Like there was just a lynx and bobcat that just walked by our house like the other week before I left, and we still eat traditional food. So like our sustenance is meat, and everyone knows how much they spend at a grocery store to go buy meat and for this protein in our kids' diets. Well, when we hunt a moose, we'll do ceremonies to respect that moose. We'll give offerings, but that moose will provide us like 1,000 pounds of meat. And you have steak, you have T-bone, you have ribs, you have ground meat, you have all this meat that could last you for you and your families and your extended family for a long time. And we're grateful for that. So it's like we say our economy is a relationship between each other, a reciprocal relationship. The moose gives to us, and then we give back by respecting that moose, making sure we handle everything properly. That's our laws. And if we don't abide by our laws, by respecting that moose and using every single part of it, then there could be spiritual and natural consequences to us and our families and our nation and our communities. Meaning, if we don't handle that right, the creator or ancestors will make it hard so we can't hunt. We won't be able to see any game. So that's how our law is. It's not like you're guilty, you go to jail. Our law is like you respect and you have a responsibility to earth and it's all of its animals and elements, because we know we depend on it. That's our economy. And it's got it all backwards when we think of like the white man economy, where it's like you're taking resource from the land and extracting it, like logs, everything, to make this microphone, to make this table, to make everything we have, this hat, the clothing is from the land. Everything is from the land. We're not getting it from outer space. Well, when these mines come in to mine this bitumen, they're extracting it from the land, and it's creating tailings ponds that are so toxic, and the people are bathing in the water and they're getting lesions on their skins. They're getting rare types of cancers, where in a population the size of New York City, there should be only maybe 3 people that have this rare cancer, but they're getting, like, people in a native reserve will have like 15 people with this rare type of cancer. You don't even hear about this type of cancer in other places but the Alberta tar sands in that area. These oil industry bring in men from around the world that are transient workers working as pipeline welders and contractors and oil riggers, and they call it oil rigging culture. You could even go on TikTok or wherever and you could put hashtag oil rigging culture, or you're going to find these men that flock to these areas that leave their wives for months at a time, leave their families for months at a time, don't have no accountability to the communities, going to in and around Indigenous communities where sexual attacks and rapes against Indigenous women increase, and sometimes up to 45% once these man camps come in and around Indigenous communities. So the violence, the sexual violence, the human trafficking that comes in and around whenever oil business comes in around Native communities is what we see and what we feel everything from like the rent increase, because these men in these first starting wage of the Alberta tar sands are out of high school and they have $100,000 wages already, so it's really enticing for our Indigenous men to leave the reserves and leave their families to go get a paycheck of $100,000 a year, which is, and then they have so much more incentives. And Christmas, they'll get a $10,000 credit card for their families. Like, so it's really enticing, and we're losing so much of our Indigenous men and potential warriors and land defenders going out there to work for the Alberta tar sands. But now we're seeing the effects too, because there's like domestic violence. The violence still spreads back home when they go home to their families. And so money is never the solution, because with money there becomes other issues, because colonization and our people, how they are impacted right now because of genocide and everything, is that we do have a lot of addictions. We do have a lot of, so even though they have money, it's going and being put into other stuff because our people aren't healthy in our minds. We've been so impacted by colonization, like you talked about the priests. Like, we're dealing with that today, even though I wasn't at residential school where all this abuse happened at the hands of the priests. I'm the first generation outside of those church-run Indian residential schools up in Canada, but I still impacted by it and the intergenerational trauma, and I see the same things because we have the same symptoms. They're there, the scars, like you said, like we have the same scars our people do, and we're finding different ways to heal from that too. And it's like empowering our people. It's by being able to feed our people, by housing our people. Tiny House Warriors has empowered so much people that we can build our own homes, which was like a big thing for us to be able to like house ourselves. And because we have such a big housing crisis, and so much of our people are pushed into urban settings where it's just even perpetuates, even more into like, we want to decolonize. We don't want to colonize our people. We want to decolonize and go back to our ways, because that's the strong ways, like eating our traditional foods, our traditional ceremonies, singing and dancing. And like we even had that conversation before, like our young warriors were able to dance and sing around the fire and dance our war songs to empower our young people to go out to battle. And battle now may be feeding the people. Battle now may be like getting our people, out there to help, like, like the breakfast program, like you know, we need to be able to feed our people healthy foods and get our people's minds right, because so much of our young people and are days behind on meals. You know, where all our people want is just to have a fridge full of food, where they don't have to worry and ration their foods out for the month. Like, we're dealing with that on the reservations. That's why we want to plant 1,400 acres of organic food. We promote anyone who wants to do community gardening, and because that's the only way we're going to be able to do it is if we plant enough for the people. And that's what my grandfather said: we got to nourish the nation. We can't have a revolution without being able to feed the people. We can't have an army of defense that's the first thing they'll cut off from us is our food. And so we're going to have to think of that ourselves. We can't depend on the system forever. And those are the type of things that I believe that we need to collaborate on and continue to work on, because it's the solutions. Like we said, the revolution's the only solution, and feeding the people is necessary, housing, and it's not just the pipeline that we're fighting. This is just one of the attacks that we're reacting to right now.
One of the tentacles of imperialism.
Yeah, but really, we want to build our nation strong and powerful and mighty, like we were, and you know. So.
Right on. Live and direct at Freedom Radio, making history, taking history, and taping history, y'all. We talking about real deal, real resistance. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's a spirit of solidarity. You know what I'm saying? Again, the Rainbow Coalition is not over. It's still getting down, y'all. Y'all feel free to call in, and better yet, feel free to cub in at 929-477-3785. Freedom Radio weekly program with the Black Panther Party Cubs, hosted by yours truly, Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. and Robin Allen, a.k.a. the Lady of Rage. Y'all feel free. Again, you locked and loaded. Do we have any callers in queue, to Comrade Daphne? Right on, welcome to Freedom Radio.
Freedom, Chairman, Comrade Conahouse. Definitely enjoying the program, you know what I'm saying? Crucial points being touched on, and salute Black Panther Party Cubs and the Rainbow Coalition for the powerful work out there in George Floyd ground in Minneapolis, you know. Just had a couple little updates I wanted to provide, if that's cool.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, please do.
Okay, yes, sir. So, so what you mentioned earlier in terms of DMX, you know, I saw a recent interview that he did about a month ago on the show called Drink Champs, you know, hosted by Noriega from Capone Noriega rap group, you know. Interesting, because even on that show, you know, if you look at the comments, and this is about a month ago, right? Yeah. So, and that, you know, the show's kind of centered around drinking, you know what I'm saying? You can even see the energy of how that affected the brother DMX, even in the, you know?
Yeah.
Because we know addiction is a disease, and chemical biological warfare is reality, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just what you were saying with that dynamic with the hip-hop industry and the way that works, definitely it's pretty disturbing, you know what I'm saying? To hear that story and then about DMX when he was 14 years old, and then to flash forward, you know, and see this interview, you know what I mean? And just keep that energy, you know? You know, continuous attack, you know what I'm saying, by the industry against the soldiers. Because even in that interview, you know, another dynamic that came up is they were asking him questions. Who would you rather work, this producer or work with, rather, this producer or that producer, right? And they asked him about Pharrell Williams. And he was like, hold on. He's like, actually, Pharrell, he's a musical genius, but I ain't touching him. And Nori's like, why is that? He's like, cause I just seen on an interview where he says I'm stitching. He said he got the FBI on speed dial. You know what I'm saying? And Noriega was like, oh yeah, that was on our show. That was on this show. You know? And they showed the clip. You know what I'm saying? So again, you're just showing the kind of caliber of soldier, of individual we're talking about when we're talking about a brother like DMX. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Just want to point out some of those dynamics. And I know you touched on it last week with March 31st being the 2-year anniversary of the assassination of Nipsey Hussle in front of the Marathon store on Crenshaw and Slauson. And, you know, we was out there, you know, from early in the morning. You know, I know you touched on it in the show, but I just want to give a quick little report back. It was something to see that repression, you know, because the community was really feeling it, you know what I mean? Because even I was out there about 9 in the morning, and they were already, you know, the place is already boarded up, but now they're boarding up
even the back alley spot. It got to the point where, they had brothers and sisters were setting up, kind of areas right there on Crenshaw and Slauson to kind of celebrate, you know what I mean, acknowledge the passing, the assassination again of Nipsey, and LAPD was showing their showing their force, kicking people off, and we were seeing the tension,
Yes.
I even went back a couple hours later, on location. So we went back to the situation. And even then, if you see there's a Fat Burger right there on Crenshaw and Slauson, and on the backside of the Fat Burger, there's a mural that was done by Brother Ink One. And they even cut off the Fat Burger parking lot. You had LAPD, these pigs literally stopping people from coming in. And I took a little video because we actually kind of stuck back there to try to get some shots in. And one of these pigs came up and was like, "Oh, there's no photos." And I questioned. I was like, "No photos? Like, what do you mean? This is a pup?" You know what I mean? And she's like, "Oh, there was something about a shooting yesterday involving photos." And the pig herself, you know what I'm saying, knew that it was some pig shit. You know what I mean? That she was just, to try to justify that. And on a lesser level, it really made me flash back to even, thinking about the shooting up of Chairman Fred Sr.'s tombstone. You know what I mean? To where even when our forces assassinated, this system is hell bent on making sure that we can't even memorialize them properly. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That was a phenomenon. I just wanted to touch on that.
Right on. There's some.
Two other things. One, Brother Shaka Atinin, one of the founders of the Black August Organizing Committee, he actually was just revealed that he has cancer. He has cancer in the lungs. So
they call him.
There's a GoFundMe out there for him. I actually spoke to him today. He's actually in really good spirits. You know what I mean? He's showing the support of the people. And so I just wanted to, send that clenched fist salute to Baba Shaka, the Black August Organizing Committee. And then the last point was there's a new documentary that's coming out on HBO Max, I believe tonight, called Eliminate All Brutes. Eliminate All Brutes. It's a documentary series looking at colonialism and the reality of the many genocides that took place from Africa to all the continents during the 500 years of European colonialism. And that's why I appreciate the conversation and the fact that Black Panther Party, the Black Panther Party Cub, are servants of history, servants of the people and servants of history. And so putting things in its proper context. So we'll be doing a viewing of this new piece, Eliminate All Groups. And yes, sir, Fremont.
Fremont, Eliminate All Groups. That's coming on tonight on what? What network?
Yes, tonight on HBO Max.
Okay, HBO, yeah.
Eliminate All Groups. It's based on a book. There was a book by the same name, and then now it's a 4-part documentary series, and it's not being promoted at all. It's really, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, I my first hearing of it.
Right. Yeah.
So we missed that tonight. Yeah, but let's keep our eye out for that. Definitely, that sounds interesting. Check that out. I want to get also want to get OG Shaka online next week also. Yeah, definitely. You know what I'm saying? Get him online so in regards to support. And then something with 2 years with Nipsey. Yeah, no doubt about it. In 2 years now. Real talk. Long live Nipsey Hussle, man. Real talk. That's interesting. Also, just even the dynamic about the Pharrell contradiction with DMX, man. Yeah, this is, man, he's a soldier. And call it, and that, man, yeah, DMX is hell, man. He's a soldier, man. Real talk. We live and direct, y'all. Instead of making history, taking history, and taping history, y'all. I know I'm gonna miss that piece tonight, but I definitely gotta check that, follow up and check that piece out. Again, y'all throw this back in there. Make sure y'all do touch down Renita Dunnigan. Let's just get some support, some financial support to Jerry Odinga Dunnigan. You know what I'm saying? Let's inbox her. Make sure you get the right one. It's a TikTok video that's moving around. She has some dreads. She got the actual video footage of her father, Jerry Odinga Dunnigan, coming out of Danville, Danville prison. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, y'all. Live and direct. Say it again, co-host. Say it again.
I said when his sister, when he went to see his sister, his last surviving sibling, and the joy that was in her voice and in her face and just her expression when she saw him, and then the hugging him and then looking back, stepping back to look at him and hugging him again and then touching him like, is this really real? It was just, that was an emotional moment.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Also a beautiful moment as well.
Yes, indeed. Man, I put in context. It's like, man, a lifetime for a lot of us that he's been gone, literally. A lifetime, or close to a lifetime that he's been gone. And again, that image of him that on post, man, downtown, old Dinka Dunnigan, man, soldier. I remember being transferred to different places and just hearing about him kept me being placed in isolation for having Chicago. Sometimes articles about Chairman Fred, and just hearing about old Dinka, being subjected, to repercussions for having a picture of Chairman Fred on the wall. You need this type of inspiration because a lot of times they isolate you to feel, just feel like, man, I'm some subjective I'm doing, but the love, that structure, that. So even when they come with their attacks, it's a different feeling for to be politicized and be clear to be on the right side of history, and his brother is definitely, I just, I can't wait to touch down with him. I really can't, and these are some of not the role models, but the real models that people should know about. And it's also, it also reflects the underbelly, the issues, the impact that O'Neal, William O'Neal, others had, their lives, the impact. A lot of people talk about agent provocateurs or activities or action that people took in the liberal sort of way, like, okay, yeah, so what was the big deal about snitching on a former agent? This is the impact. There was another brother, Griggs, who's out, who was actually tortured by O'Neal, William O'Neal, and again, this discussion, that so much has to be addressed, so much has to come out, man, just to talk to some people today. You're talking about, even the case of Baba Tunde, who was murdered on the railroad tracks, and O'Neal's in part, his role in that, and it's important that now people say, I said earlier, I don't like a lot of my problems. I get a hold in because a lot of people don't even understand my problem because the deal is. Somebody say you got 99 problems. I say 99 problems. The pigs involved in all of them, and when the GDs, formerly known as gangster disciples, made to be growth and development during the federal trial, the hearings of the GDs, every area they talked about the crime epidemic was going on with GDs. It quote unquote happened to be under the leadership of informants, of agent provocateurs. It's that, and then even the activities of the crime, even stuff that they own in the early 1973 with William O'Neal when he was testifying against Stanley Robinson. It's a book, Badge. Some of the Badge. Stanley Robinson was a notorious Chicago police. And Stanley Robinson and O'Neal would testify on each other for the activities that they engaged in, such as the shaking down of West Side business owners on extortion tip. And Stanley Robinson's defense was that he was really working undercover on O'Neal, and O'Neal's defense was he really was working undercover with Stanley Robinson. But both of them, it was a state dynamic, a type of way that they move. You mention Stanley Robinson's name to people to this day, you can see grown men shake. The horror stories about, him wearing the wigs and the murders that went down, with him. It's a different man. And you about the activities O'Neal did and engaged in. It's a state dynamic. It's a state dynamic. With Afghanistan, they told, who they put in place. They in Iraq, who they grabbed and put in place. So these discussions that have to be, this is part of the ongoing cleansing process. Yes, indeed. Somebody just commented now.
Yes.
That was beautiful when she hugged her brother. Yes, and if that be his only surviving sibling. no matter, I don't know how many other siblings, just even the loss, so many family members. I'm looking at some of these comments. DMS goes down and this goes down. Yeah, Odega Dunnigan. Y'all check that footage out. Renita Dunnigan, look on her page on TikTok and repost that and get a contact for her. You know what I'm saying? She got a way to find resources, money, you know what I'm saying, can be sent to welcome, you know what I'm saying, this brother back to the community, you know what I'm saying? We look forward to having him on the show, but I know you gotta get a breather, if that. Those 6 write-ups, for right now, we work on getting out, the email set up. We've been going through, man. We've been trying to get this website stuff put together. So I think back in Atlanta years ago, trying to get this website situation facilitated with this, blow out the blow. I'm talking about, man, blow out the blow. But for right now, they can send it to Chairman Fred Jr. at Gmail. I gotta check those emails. Note in there that you're sending it in regards to the membership, Black Panther Party Cubs. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I'm just through so much battle fatigue, but we're gonna continue to serve. But I gotta give me a breather. I got to, because I keep saying it, man, because when it's exposed later on down the road, how much COINTELPRO we've been impacted by. Come in my tombstone or come back wherever they got me cremated, got me sprayed and say, yeah, Chairman, I remember you said this here, because, man, blow out the blow. Blow out the blow. We live and direct, y'all. It's making history, taking history, and taping history. Any callers in queue? Just Conrad.
Fremont, Brother Chairman, we have David from Washington, Fremont.
Welcome to Fremont Radio.
Fremont.
Hi, can you hear me clearly, Chairman?
Yeah, you're a little bit in and out, but I hear you. A little bit in and out, a little bit.
Yes, I would like to thank you for hosting this radio show. First, to enlighten viewers on the current ongoings of the world that have not stopped, although many of us have stopped paying attention to.
Okay, going in and out. Caller still there?
First off, I would like to ask you, sir.
Yes. Okay, okay. We working with it. Can you kind of go in and out? Say it again. You get the question?
So first, it's an honor to talk to you. But I would just like to ask your advice, being under a lot of heat, and doing the right thing, making the right decision. Even though the devil's in your way, trying to do what God wants you to do. Because I feel like I was on a certain spiritual path before the devil came in my way. And now I feel like I'm back at ground zero on the spiritual path, on all paths. To getting better as a person, to getting better as a being, just living this world in a very uncertain time, in a very divisive time. And I'm asking you, with your father, how he went through it, how he dealt with it. I'm asking for your advice, Chairman. Thank you.
Right on for the call. I definitely appreciate the call. I gotta say, there are no cliff notes with the Cub class. I wish it was a easy one too, because in all honesty, without going details, these war wounds, they hit, and a lot of times you can't predict when when they hit, but also again, many times one of the benefits of being a servant of the people is at the lowest of lows, the people, man, they are inspiring. They'll come through. I recall this. I spoke about this before. I wonder if he tuning in too. I was held captive, individual named Red, and it was a concern with individuals. Let me use their books. They would say, "Oh, if you get chairman of your book, he might get transferred. You won't see your books no more." So I got a real big thing about people not owing, not owing people anything. I think something stuck in my mind one time. This guy, he was kind of I was at the laundromat. I was a child. And I was washing clothes. I come back and he goes, "Oh yeah, I heard your father speak. I think I loaned $20. He was lying. Mother Comrade, she was so offended when I was just saying he was saying he knew my father. I had to go back up to the lounge back and check him. You know, he said, no, I didn't do that. But so they kind of stuck in my mind about making sure not. So saying all this, say I make sure I get people their books back. You know. So anyway, Red was a very intelligent brother. I'm gonna say was. I think he's very. I pretty much says he's pretty intelligent now. But there was no connection to the people, and that's no slight on him. There's no slight. People, I don't, certain experiences. I said this. I just said this yesterday. You have to take into account geographical location, experiences, lack of experiences. And with political line, how you relate to certain dynamics. And he had read and said something to me about the book Machiavelli. He had said, matter of fact, he had sent me the book. We were talking about Machiavelli. And this is around the time, it was kind of real popular because Tupac was talking about, the Prince and Machiavelli. And Red had said something to the effect that, he said, Chairman, you always talk about the people. It was a day, in fact, the day he brought it to me was one of those days I was kind of going through some serious struggles because they were constantly taking me downstairs to what they call BFI, Bureau of Identification. The guards would come past and they'd see some hair growing on my face. Take them down, take another picture. You know what I'm saying? And this is all, back to back. And they would deplete my money off my commissary books. They would charge me for the photograph. You know what I'm saying? This is like psychological warfare. Take a picture, another ID. So one day I came back, it was just draining. And you gotta be real careful when you take certain information because they catch you. So the police, that's why they let you sit there. You haven't eaten for a while before they come talk to people. And on side, another side. One of the comrades, I would tell him I didn't want his sister-in-law to be around us. When we were going through Lowe's. He said, why? I said, she was always kind of trying to push her church and stuff. When we were going through battle fatigue and some of our forces, their defense mechanisms, their immune system is not tight. It dawned on him. He said, Chairman, I never thought about that. I said, yeah, she don't mean no harm when she comes. She pushes a line. I said, most of us can defend it because we have enough political garlic to defend it. But you have to assess yourself. I said, some of our forces, their skin is not thick enough to, the defense mechanisms are not in place. But back to the Machiavelli's analogy. So Red has said, the prince. He said the prince says, "He who builds on the people builds on the mire." In other words, the mud. In other words, you can't depend on it. And then I got transferred. About 4 years later, I was coming across Stateville Yard, and I seen Red. I think I was being taken to isolation. I was being placed to getting out of isolation. And I stopped. I said, Red, what's happening? He said, what's happening, Chairman? I said, long time no see. I said, Red, you forgot to recite the next page. He said, Chairman, you still? I said, I remember that discussion. I said, the next page was, he who builds on the people builds on the mire for the exception of the prince. They said the people will weather the storm for the prince because they take the position that the prince is taking a position not for his or her own personal interest. The people understand that stance is being taken, for them. A lot of times people do certain things. Kind of like I was talking to our field marshal yesterday. We having some discussion. I said, even an issue like even when they use like these different politicians in respective communities. It was a big situation in Chicago where the FBI had it was a big sting with the Negro aldermen where they had dropped this toxic waste in the black community. They paid these aldermen up to bring the toxic waste to the community. I say, had these politicians done something for the community, people may have united with them, and as opposed to seeing for their own personal interests, And so that's something that we get to start off with that, to come with that, and also not be limited by conventional definitions of what the people are doing. Your success rate. I tell you can't. You look for the ruling class's definition of their polls to say, is this successful? You know what I'm saying? And it's demoralizing because you say, I think Thurgood Marshall, who was exposed as being on the payroll, you know what I'm saying, to inform, to report back to the government on the NAACP. He had said something to the fact that you could not find nothing tangible that Malcolm X had did, and this is because this is a state's definition. You know what I'm saying? This is he cannot the tally of the progress of movements amongst the masses, the ruling class, you know what I'm saying? If they report it, it's reported back later on down the road, you know what I'm saying, when you really can't connect to it. The government will tell you, when it exists in the Black Panther Party, there was a record load to what they call black on black crime. The government's not going to tell you about the work that the Black Panther Party Cubs and the Tiny House Warriors and the Brown Berets and the Rainbow Coalition did yesterday at George Floyd Square. Not now. Down the road, it may come out. You know what I'm saying? They can afford the luxury to make that connection right now to the community. They can't tell you about the work that is going on right at the Hampton House. They can't even tell you about the attacks that we've been subjected to. The deal is, so your standards, your definitions cannot be limited by the ruling class, because it's a morale blow. It's like, damn, what am I, what's going on? And you have the growth level. You have to study the people. You know what I'm saying? And even when the people themselves cannot sum it up, you have to be able to see those victories. You know what I'm saying? Certain terms they use. You know what I'm saying? Certain degrees, you know what I'm saying, in music, certain discussions that are being even had. I told someone, I said, you have to be able to distinguish the time. And I was talking about the Central Committee again yesterday. And we're talking about different straws. Look at we're fortunate. Yes, there are a lot of contradictions, but look at the families of the victims of police terrorism. Look at the images of Diamond Lavish Reynolds coming out of that jail, folding that box of Newport cigarettes, and just saying that what happened. Look at her with that police at the Philando Castile with the gun in his hand, and she's saying, "No, you murdered him." Look at now. Contrast that to years prior, where people will come out. Well, I can't speak now. My lawyer has to speak for me. You know what I'm saying? Even now, I struggle with that contradiction. But again, the deal is to be able to self-determination is even our mistakes belong to us. To be able to have that type of conversation, to even acknowledge. You know what I'm saying? The counterinsurgency. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people they dismiss it, and that's a constant battle, because it's American imperialism in particular, so Machiavellian. I know y'all probably think I'm giving a plug for Machiavelli, but it's so Machiavellian. It's so intertwined, and many people just, you know what I'm saying, cannot distinguish the, you know what I'm saying, from the attack from those who are fighting back. So that's a morale boost, and also the state. In many cases, the state will help keep you on point. They're a reminder. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But I dare not romanticize revolution. I dare not. Battle fatigue is a reality. It's a reality. Minister U.E.P. Newton said that the most difficult job in fighting for the people is fighting in the interest of people who themselves don't know their own interests. This legacy of the Black Panther Party, I have to fight to defend this legacy of the Black Panther Party from, you will not believe, from man, to what lengths. Believe me. To what lengths. And believe me, there are times that the cub got to hit the corner and get a breather, man, be like, damn. There are times. And there are times when that shot of water comes from not necessarily your corner. It may come from most unexpected place. There are times, but again, you cannot be held to conventional definitions. You cannot wait for the judges to tell you the score. You cannot wait. You have to come in and recognize that the referee may be most likely working for the ruling class. You must listen to the terms that are used. You must recognize the political significance of a term such as Caesar's Palace, so you know where you at. Don't take, as Chairman Mao Zedong said, don't take everything don't take a bourgeoisie characteristic to say everything happened wrong because of you, everything happened good because of you. The damage that you have to deal with, that you're fighting, you're fighting on different terrains, or, you know what I'm saying, like the Manchurian Candidate. This system can tap into and trigger certain emotions of certain individuals and work it for their interests. It's a battle. It's a battle, believe me. And there are times I will bear my soul with you. There are times in which I ask myself, am I fighting more to make sure we change the system, or make sure the system don't change me?
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you so much.
Right on. Thank you. It's an honor. We live and direct at Freedom on Radio, making history, taking history, and taking history, y'all. That's what it is. We down to the countdown. Y'all make sure y'all get ready for the move in June. What's the move in June? We talking about on Father's Day. We talking about the Club and Community Caravan. Headed down, check on the tombstone of Chairman Fred Hampton. Get ready for August 30th, the Chairman Fred's Streets Party. Also, speaking of food weekend, I dare not negate to mention, please, if y'all are anywhere close to the Hampton House, Come and grab some of this food we got in front of the Hampton House. We need assistance to come get some of this food ASAP. Get the word out, come grab it. You know what I'm saying? Drop, man, I'm like today. You know what I'm saying? Again, get some of this right. We got it right there in front of the Hampton House. You know what I'm saying? If you think you're coming out there, you think you're doing some slick back grabbing and cuffing and running off with it. In the words of Asada Shakur when she told her little brother the breakfast program when he stuffed the pancakes in his pocket. You can't steal from your program. It's the people's program. So come on through, y'all. Grab some of them boxes of food that we have at 804 South 17th Avenue, Maywood, Illinois. Come through, take some pictures, put it on Instagram, post it. We got it there. Tell the local stool pigeons and inform us that it's a secret we do not want nobody to know about, that there's food in front of the Hampton House, and we'd rather not nobody get it. Let the stool pigeons know that there's food in front of the Hampton House, and we'd rather not, we want to keep it to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That's some, put them flyers to work. Yes, indeed. Show body in the building. Oh, man, I missed your call earlier. I'm going to get back to you. We've been going through it, man. Show body, one of the hardest cats. Hey, show body, hey, man, you seen Shorty Bible touchdown with us at the Hampton House? I'll get a rep his sweater, too, next time. I told Bible, make sure you send me the right size, man. You know what I'm saying? Because Shorty Bible be doing his little workout every morning, you know what I'm saying? So he think everybody else in shape. I'm going to catch up with him, though, man. But show body, man. Shout out to Conscious, man. I'm going to send it right 360, you know what I'm saying? And shout body, keep doing what you do, man. I ain't heard the piece that y'all did. Y'all went up in that studio. You, Ron C-Line, DJ Farrow, and others, man. But I ain't getting get up in that studio and release 2 in a minute, man. I gotta do what it do, man. Yeah, no doubt about it. Y'all make sure y'all get them, give us a heads up that them letters are coming. Matter of fact, we're gonna start working on the Zoom too for political education class. Get our membership tight. But those who not official membership, they don't stop y'all from get y'all black and light blue together and get ready for that caravan down. You know what I'm saying? We talking about getting a big bus and riding down to the tombstone. You know what I'm saying? And pay our respects. Pay our respects. And August 30th, woo, man, listen, we gonna show up and show out. We talking about, we gonna beat up a Chairman Fred's birthday. I forgot how old he would be. My man, he's 21. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And just a update on the uprising at that St. Louis.
Oh, yes.
It's like the third time.
Yes.
That they have been fighting back and protesting. Still the same conditions. Still no court dates. Still, they still under these stressful and. Can't even think of the word.
Yeah.
Terrible conditions that they're in right now.
Yeah. St. Louis, no doubt about it. Yeah, kids of this, man, if we get any contact, make sure they call in next week. Make sure we get the, they got me on Facebook, but if y'all get the administrators' numbers, contact, we need to call, let them know that we got eyes on what's happening down in St. Louis, no doubt about it. It's been back to back, you know what I'm saying? And they literally are saying on the walls, on the windows, help us. They're literally saying free them all. They are literally saying that, you know what I'm saying? This is, hey, if y'all know, you hear about we hear about death out here every day. Imagine what's going on inside these concentration camps. Yes, that's right. These concentration camps. St. Louis been back to back. You know what I'm saying? You have to ask what the video of George Floyd when he comes. I can't go up in. I had forgot that this was during coronavirus when he was murdered. It was, you know what I'm saying? What's going on up in these places that, you know what I'm saying? That make what's, they telling us of the resistance happening when the arbitrator for United Nations was open to have arbitrary inspections through prisons throughout the world. Iraq even said, let's do it. The United States said, no go. What's happening that they don't want to be shown? Need y'all to keep them in y'all minds, y'all hearts. Need y'all to keep DMX in your minds and hearts, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Hashtag that, tweet that. Free, welcome home, Jerry Odinga Dunnigan. Contact Renita Dunnigan. Need to say, how can we send resources, the CashApp, whatever she has, to get to her father, to our brother, to our soldier, Odinga. Also, those who I just said they want to donate some art to the Hampton House. Y'all come on with it. Send it to 804 South 17th Avenue, Maywood, Illinois. Support the campaign, Save the Hampton House. CashApp, $ Save the Hampton House. The GoFundMe, we still got that going on. GoFundMe.com/Save the Hampton House 51. We better tweak our website. You know what I'm saying? We up and ante with that. It's an honor to serve. Keep your heads up, eyes on the fist country. What we got on deck? I hope, matter of fact, bring us some DMX. Let us get some DMX. DMX, man, hey. Yeah. Man, we love you, man. That picture of DMX on there, I seen DMX in one time he said, Chairman, what happened to my shirt you supposed to gave me? I said, brother, I'm gonna be honored to give you the shirt off my back. And I gave him the Chairman Fred shirt, man. Man, X, what you got for us, man? That's our man's. DMX. That's our man's. That's our man's.
Yeah.
All right, so the Conrad Daddy, where you at on that X now? That's our man's. Right on. Prayers for the X.